Hey, so I'm a very new, very awful GM. I'm running a Pathfinder 2 campaign, and I just figured I would start, you know, sharing my foibles. Um, and as such, we have a map. Sorry about the condition of the map. My player didn't realize that I keep them for later use, just in case the party goes back to the same places. And here's the story thus far. Uh, the party composed of a ratfolk alchemist, a ratfolk cleric of Desna, a ratfolk, no, only two ratfolks, a human who was cursed and is permanently in pest form as a squirrel, who is a sorcerer, a Leshy that is a champion of Gozray, and a lizard folk who joined a bit later. Lizard folk isn't at the beginning. He isn't there. So everyone starts out. They are in a town called Origin, because I am creative. They are going to the big festival for the whole continent. And so they join a caravan to go there. Along the way, they are besieged by bandits. Apparently there is a bandit state, basically, that has formed along the road toward the capital, the big city, and it is led by someone called a bandit king, who is a werewolf. And so they basically, by the end, they have nothing left by the bandits, and they're tasked with letting the people who actually govern those areas know that there is another state happening. And they manage to do that. They get everything done at the festival that they can, and then they get the task of rescuing a horse, a prize stallion. And they agree, and they rescue the stallion, and when they defeat the bandits who stole it, they are told that they will be hunted by the bandit king, who hunts with a pack, and he's pissed at him because they almost in their first run-in with him, they almost knocked him out. And so then they find a fortifiable place, which is our map. This is a river. There's an island in the middle with rapids on each side. There's a fallen log allowing access to the island, and they set it up. How I ran this was, they didn't know when he would get there. I would roll each. I would give them one activity to do. Well, not give them, let them do one activity. And then after each activity, I would roll a d20 and see if the werewolf had found them yet. So one person decided to make these all muddy and make them difficult terrain. I had him roll survival. It succeeded. And another person tried to weaken the bottom of this log so that it would break if the werewolf walked on it. He failed pretty miserably. He almost fell in the rapids and got very hurt. Eventually, they decide that they are just going to wait. And we've got a horse here. We've got lizard folk here. We've got squirrel. cleric, fleshy alchemist. And the werewolf comes over here, sniffs the air, and shouts, "Hey, lizard folk! I don't have any beef with you. You smell like a warrior. If you come over here, you could really make it in my organization." It's ad-libbing off the cuff, although I am bad at voices. So he and the lizard folk says no. And the werewolf says, "Come here and tell me that." And the lizard folk, being a barbarian who is very not smart, he took some voluntary flaws. If he manages to take just effects that lower his intelligence, even if it's lowered by 1, he will no longer be able to speak. So he comes over here and meets the werewolf. And then we roll for initiative as the werewolf attacks him, managing to bite him. And I said earlier, I don't know if they remembered, that he ran with a pack, and as such, wargs, which are the majority of his pack, start hopping up after having swam down the river, and the werewolf was really trying to lure the lizard folk away from their landing spot. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but wargs can swallow small creatures whole, and 4 out of 5 of my party members are small. This went... They really should have died, and it's due to my screwing up that it wasn't a TPK. I screwed up so that it was going to be a TPK. I didn't realize how effective they would be, but I screwed up in this way. I was just like, okay, so we've got warg. Its AC is I don't remember, 17. Its health HP is 30. Its initiative, that is supposed to be an N. Its initiative is 21. And I would go through and I'd just be like, okay, so this one goes here. You attacked it. Okay. Alright, there we go. And then I'd continue, and this guy goes, and I was going on like that, and I don't know if you noticed watching, but I changed the initiative, not the hit points. And this was in an Excel spreadsheet I set up. So I didn't realize, and I was wondering why I couldn't keep track of my initiative order. Well, it turns out it's because I was altering the initiative every time. And by the time I figured it out, my team was on the ropes and barely hanging on, and there were a couple that were dying, and so yeah, I basically just came clean. I was like, oh no, guys, I'm sorry. This is what's been happening. I'm just gonna roll with it. And so all the wargs, as they got hit, just started to slow down. Eventually, and basically we were telling each other that, yeah, there were some sort of time magic affected, that when you did damage to them, it didn't harm them, it just made them move slower, and eventually they were just still frozen in time. But yeah, real dumb. Plus side, werewolf managed to bite the wizard folk, and he failed his fortitude save, and so he is now a lizard folk werewolf.